We are all from Africa, but it's also been called the youngest continent. Sometimes torn by hunger and strife, Africa is also full of possibilities. Partnering with the apparel and fashion industry can bring a real change to Africa that aid alone could not accomplish. In fact, if Africa can increase their share of world trade by 1%, it would generate 3 times the amount it currently receives in aid. For all of Africa's challenges, many companies and individuals are moving their production or sourcing to East Africa.
Every year we do a strategic plan for the next 3 to 5 years. And I would say 5 years ago we had no plans for Africa. And then we just started to develop a little bit of knit t-shirts, and it was really well received.
When I started One Mango Tree, it was, like I said, it was just in northern Uganda, and we were working with tailors that just worked on manual sewing machines. When you look at our products now versus where they were 5 years ago, it makes me really proud to see how far we've come.
Whether looking at sourcing, manufacturing, or small-scale artisanal production, the industry is already in Africa.
I have so many of my agents that I've worked with in the past who are now contacting me who are saying, hey, we're stepping into Africa. We have some contacts, work with us.
In materials with real heart and soul, handmade, I think is something we're looking for. We're looking for meaning, and African products bring that.
Africa's time is now, and the numbers back it up.
We've been sourcing or doing business in Asia for 30, 40 years, and we're only just really beginning to see Africa as a source location.
Africa's new on the street. They're getting it, you see it's happening, and it's happening very quickly, which is really positive. But they're gonna have to learn to run very quickly because their competition is tough.
U.S. buyers will move $5 billion out of China in the next 3 years. Where will that production go?
Transport costs need to come down, energy costs need to come down. But as that is happening, we believe that Africa will become more and more competitive in a wider range of products, and not just raw commodities, but value-added.
The vertically integrated knit factories were really very interesting for us at that point because they're comparable to our Asian factories. The quality levels that we saw in the workmanship is comparable. So we think there's a big opportunity there.
The natural process is that, you work with these developing nations, you struggle with the supply chain and with the logistical problems, and eventually they start correcting themselves. And of course it gets to the part where, it's critical mass, and now everybody can, you just walk in and it's easy.
The African Growth and Opportunity Act provides tangible incentives to promote trade between American companies and sub-Saharan Africa.
Every apparel item that we make comes into the U.S. under AGOA duty-free, which is fantastic.
When we first started AGOA, non-oil exports from the Africans were only about 1.3 billion. Today they're over 5 billion.
Everywhere in the world there's crime and there's crisis but if we don't get involved, and this is my personal opinion, if you don't get involved in a commercial sense, then nothing changes, because when people don't have hope or faith that things are going to change the next day or tomorrow or a week from Tuesday, there's no incentive.
While looking at production in Africa, a lot of companies are considering their image with their customers.
I think from a social corporate responsibility perspective, companies are ready to look at Africa as an alternative for sourcing and use their businesses as a means for change there.
I really think that we, the manufacturers, and the United States government and media, good and bad, has really taught consumers to care about where their product's made. Customers want to hear about made in Africa. It really, I think, at this point, gives them pride to put on a garment that's made someplace they're proud of. There is definitely a market for the high fashion.
And it's just a fact. Africa is hot right now.
It's really thanks to technology that the world has been given a lens into Africa fashion. And it's really starting to take center stage as a place to find haute couture fashion.
I'm realizing now that Western countries are starting to see that Africa is not only a source of manufacturing, but also a source of designs.
Particularly this spring in Europe, there were 4 European shows that highlighted African textiles.
In my professional opinion, it could compete with anywhere in the world.
Africa's time is now.
Going to Africa, I've been there now 3 times. It's a sourcing trip where you really come back pumped, you come back energized, because they really want to prove themselves and they want to perform.
Challenges remain in Africa, but so do great rewards. The natural resources are there, the talent is there, the vision is there.
It's exciting. I think it's an exciting time for Africa. The rate of return on investment in Africa right now is higher than any other region of the world.
Whether it's small-scale workshops, inspiring designers, or major productions, companies and individuals are moving forward, growing, evolving, working in Africa. Origin Africa.